We are live and back at it once again for another episode and another live stream of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. It's the Bass Pro Shops NBNA 500 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. 4 races remain in the hunt for the championship, and I just realized I forgot to put the points on the left side of the screen. Give me one quick second to show the graphic. Way to go, Keegan. Already messed the intro up. That's not good enough. That is not going to work. Oh my goodness. This is a train wreck. This has got to be the worst intro of all time. You guys are going to have to give me a couple seconds. Oh my gosh. Might just have to skip the intro at this point. I thought I had this graphic ready to go and I just completely forgot to showcase it. I want to see you guys roast me down in the comment section. I deserve to be roasted after this one. Alright. Well, that's awkward. For all of us. Couple more seconds. There we go. Okay, there's the point standings on the left side of your screen I was talking about. 4 races to go in the chase for the Nextel Cup Series Championship. Jimmie Johnson currently leads the way coming into the night as we have a doozy of a race. 500 miles for the last time this season, the final 500-mile race. The second to last 500-mile race of the year. But it is the last. Man, I'm all over the place. Me forgetting to put the points on the left side of the screen has just completely got my mind all jumbled up. Now I forgot my lines in my head that I was going to have for the start of this race. I think we're just about ready to start this race without an intro at this point. This is this is so bad. Oh my goodness. Anyway, points on the left side of your screen. Jimmie Johnson will be starting at the rear of the field for tonight's race. No qualifying, no practice for this one. Final time we will not qualify or practice for races here. He has a 102-point lead over both Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming into this race. Kevin Harvick 160 back. Casey Kane 172 back. Matt Kenseth 238 back as of right now. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. And let's get into this one. Green flag is in the air at Atlanta, and for the 4th straight race, it'll be Dale Earnhardt Jr. who qualified on the pole and will lead the field to the green. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. That was not a good takeoff for Jimmie Johnson. Fastest mile and a half in the Cup Series as of 2004. Very wide Atlanta Motor Speedway at that. They are 3 by 3 at the back of the pack right now. Tony Stewart, one of the chase drivers, is stuck in the middle lane in between Kyle Petty and Joe Nemechek. Here comes Jimmie Johnson with a full head of steam. He's going to go to the bottom. 4 wide up the exit of the corner. My goodness, 4 wide on lap 2. Johnson wasting no time with a very bold maneuver. Johnson definitely on the attack early. Making headway on the bottom lane. Dale Earnhardt Jr. scoring his bonus points for leading the opening laps of the race. Jeff Green with a little bit of a block on the front stretch. Johnson goes high to block the 107 car as well after he got out of the gas to check up. Can't figure out exactly where Jeff Green wants to run. Outside of in front of the 48 car, he checked up a little too much. Now Ward Burton's going to get to the inside of the 48. They're still 3x3 in the front stretch. It's just absolutely insane up there. Greg Biffle just about bounced into the wall into turn 1. Johnson finally gets his way around Jeff Green. He passed Greg Biffle as well. That was on the outside of Robbie Gordon, Jeff Burton. Probably shouldn't have went to the outside. He's going to back out of the gas. Let Robbie Gordon go so he wasn't going to be 3 wide. Back to the outside of that 31 car again. Slides way up the racetrack. He's in the wall in turns 1 and 2. Now he's starting to overdrive the car. NASCAR LOL, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I did see those storms last night. That was, well, I mean, as far as what happened, there were tornadoes in the Midwest. None in my area that I know of. There was some wind damage. Most of the wind that we ended up having was actually during the day today. By the time we got the massive and heavy winds, we had 35 and 40 mile an hour winds with 60 mile an hour wind gusts. And I was at lunch and trying to walk out to my car, and that it felt like when you picked one leg up to walk, it felt like the wind was like trying to literally sweep you off your feet. You felt like you were walking a little slanted. Definitely some devastating damage, though, that was done. Seems like the majority of the devastating damage was in Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky area. So definitely thoughts and prayers going out to anybody out there and anybody else who was affected by the storms last night. You can still tell that they are 3x3 up inside the top 10. Jimmy Johnson's still back in the 27th position, coming to lap 10 this time by. This pack is still all clumped together as well. Massive run for Johnson down into turn 1. Oh boy! Jammed the brakes a bit. He has a big-time slide. Catches the race car. Great save by Jimmy Johnson as the car walks up the racetrack. Did a great job not only making the save, but also keeping it off the outside wall as he drifted from the bottom to the top. Reese Stallcup, welcome to the stream. Johnson underneath Dale Jarrett. Jarrett trying to side draft Jimmy Johnson and pinch him. Will contact. Johnson goes up the track a bit. Jarrett going to try to cross him over now after he basically clipped Johnson's right rear. A little nudge to Greg Quick in the 175 car. 3 wide. Into turn 3. Passes made on both Terry Labonte and Robbie Gordon. Still 3 wide off the exit of the corner. A little bit of contact. And Labonte's in the wall. Terry Labonte got into the wall. Contact with Robbie Gordon, who was outside. And they stacked up back there. You can see on the track map some cars scattering at the back of the pack, but it looks like they made their way into turns 1 and 2. Bit of a check up and a slowdown. Johnson's up to 19th. Luckily, he was ahead of that mess. Blows around Paul Menard on the front stretch. Have I heard of F1 2021? Yes, I've heard of that game. I know what Formula One is. I may be a NASCAR fan, but I'm an overall racing fan. What racing fan doesn't know what Formula One is? Only the most popular motorsport in the world. Yeah, I didn't hear any sirens going off here. I know we had some heavy rain overnight. When I actually left for work, it wasn't raining at the time, but it was super damp outside. And it was windy at the time, but not as windy as what it was during the day. Wind definitely picked up during the day. It's still windy now, but right around lunchtime, that was crazy. Patrick Chatterley, welcome to the stream as well. Pete Nelson with a block on Jimmy Johnson. Dale Jr. is kind of pulling away from the rest of the field. Yeah, the fast car led the first 90 laps and ended up with 94 laps led total at Martinsville en route to his third place finish. Beast Boy, welcome to the stream. Trisha Toms, welcome to the stream as well. Oh my goodness, Nelson trying to block Johnson all the way to the outside. Jimmy's way up high. He's going to let Nelson go, otherwise he would have gotten squeezed into the wall. And Casey Mears gets back by the 48. I don't know what's going on with Pete Nelson, but he feels the need to be able to block every lane imaginable on the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Johnson to the inside of Mears. Mears on the inside of Nelson. They're three wide into turn three. Johnson passes them both. And Elliott Sadler's trying to also pass both, and looks like he will be able to do just that off turn four. Love the intro. Yeah, that was that's by far the worst intro I've ever had on the channel. That was terrible. I've had times when the mic was out, but that was bad because you could hear everything. Herbie Solomon, welcome to the stream. Tough break for you, Herbie. Hate to hear that. Mike Murphy, the 199 car, blocking Jimmy Johnson now as well. Must be something with the generated drivers. They feel the need to block the 48 car who's trying to charge from the back of the pack to the front. He's going to get under Murphy on the front stretch. Clears him into turn one. Have I ever heard of Minecraft? Who hasn't heard of Minecraft? I have never played it, though. I don't really get into those kind of games. I guess Minecraft's one of a kind. Always been more into sports-related games. Johnson passes Ryan Newman off turn 4 for 9th place. Ricky Rudd, Kevin Harvick up ahead. The 77 car, Brendan Gaughan's making a beeline towards the front of the field. It's underneath his teammate Rusty Wallace for position. Johnson finally gets underneath Ricky Rudd in the 21, and he'll pass him for 8th. Pack is starting to close in on Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was slipping away there for a little bit. Johnson had a massive run off the exit of turn 4, and he's going to pass 3 cars within the exit of 4 to the middle of 1 and 2, and that will put Jimmy Johnson in the top 5 for the first time tonight. Dale Jr.'s led the first 25 laps. And then 2 rookies running 3rd and 4th of Brian Vickers and Brendan Gaughan. Johnson finally getting underneath Gaughan. All the way down to the apron on the backstretch. That's not going to be a good move. Cars all over the place as he slides up the racetrack into turn 3. He's trying to get away from Brendan Gaughan, but even on the straightaway on the apron with these games, the EA Sports game, I should say from this game in particular, of any of the EA Sports games, to get down onto the apron of the racetrack, super slick, and there's no grip even if it's a straightaway. Johnson into the wall. It's 3 wide with Harvick and Kenseth underneath him, and now he can't get off the wall. Santiago Kid, welcome. This is the Xfinity Series Championship by 2 spots. Oh, man. That's a heartbreaker. The Cup Series title, though, that's the more important one. Johnson back inside the top 5. Took him a few extra laps to get back by Kenseth, Wallace, and Harvick. 1.1 seconds off the race lead from Dale Jr. It's a 4-car breakaway at the front of the field. Jr.'s got that track position advantage, and that is part of why he has led as much as he has. Now Brendan Gaughan starting to lose the top 3. Brian Vickers still putting a lot of pressure on the top 2. Johnson passes Gaughan for position. Gaughan going to try to cross him over in turns 1 and 2. Jimmy up high, 77 down on the bottom lane. Not going to be able to pull back alongside of him. Vickers going for second. Not quite going to get there. Party of Chevys at the front of the field running 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 of which for Hendrick Motorsports running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Behind the DEI Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Wade Johnson has marched from the back up to 4th place thus far, halfway through the opening fuel run. You can tell he's got a fast race car. To the outside of Brian Vickers in the 25. This is going to be interesting into turn 3. He's going to try it out. Jeff Gordon in the 24 is going to go wide, though, and Vickers is going to get underneath him, it looks like. Johnson's got nowhere to go behind him now all of a sudden. We'll go back to the top in turns 1 and 2. All the way to the top. Gordon going way up the track as well. That's the second corner in a row. He's just gotten really tight. And Brian Vickers, the rookie's up to second. Johnson had a great run, though, off that progressive banking off the high side, and he is up to second place, passing both his teammates of Vickers and Gordon. Junior's now led the first 35 laps of the race at the line that time as he tries to block Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy going to try to go for the lead. DB Forever 85, welcome to the stream. Still caution free in this race so far. Johnson is right there. And he's all over the back bumper of Dale Jr. You just cannot get around him. Really, really close to him, though. Maybe a slight nudge into the wall. That right rear corner panel. The top three in the point standings are all in the top four in the early going of this race. Right front tire starting to wear out a little bit more on Jimmy Johnson. It's that clean air advantage that Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s got right now. Too big for Jimmy Johnson even to try and overcome. Johnson got really tight. Dale Jr. just kind of going up to try and mimic the line that the 48 had. Johnson's car is definitely getting a little bit more sideways in the corners, too. That definitely doesn't help. Dale Jr. is mimicking the line that Jimmy Johnson's running. Johnson just can't get his car to rotate back down to the bottom of the racetrack in the second half of this fuel and tire stint. Might have used up his tires a little too much trying to go from last place all the way up to second currently. Although it's still a tight points battle within the top three with 4 races to go coming in, it's still somewhat comfortable for Johnson. As long as he finishes within a couple positions of Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon, even if they beat him out the rest of the races this season, Johnson will narrowly win the championship. Obviously, he doesn't want it to come down to that much pressure. But with Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon running so well, I should say Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon running so well, Johnson has as well, I guess, but all three of those guys have been so dominant in the chase. Really, that regular season championship for Jimmy Johnson is showing big. The fact that he had the number 1 seed and had that original 5-point lead going into the final 10 races of the season is definitely proven to be very, very good for him. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race. And 325 laps, 500 miles set for this one. Second to last 500-mile race of the year, second to last mile-and-a-half race this season. Of course, we still got to make a trip out to Homestead yet. That will be the final race of the year, and that will be the final mile-and-a-half. The final 500-mile race will be the Southern 500 at Darlington. That is also going to be the final Crown Jewel event. That is the second to last race of the year. Our next race will be tomorrow afternoon at noon Eastern Standard Time at the Phoenix Raceway. Phoenix International Raceway. Another noon start on the channel with the full race live streams. We'll have a doubleheader on the channel tomorrow, as we'll have that, and then our premiere at the Kansas Speedway for NASCAR 21 Edition Career Mode, and that premiere will take place at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. I'll be in the chat for that one. So that will be on the agenda for tomorrow. But a score to be settled here at Atlanta tonight. It's a two-car breakaway between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Johnson. If there was any mile-and-a-half on the circuit where the draft is going to be at its most importance, it's got to be Atlanta. We're seeing speeds of 195 plus miles an hour on corner entry, especially getting into turn 1. And even turn 3, we've seen speeds about 193, 194. This time into turn 3, 194. Last time we were on a mile-and-a-half, and the last pit stop on a mile-and-a-half for Jimmy Johnson was not a good pit stop. The catch can man got ran into by the rear tire changer, making for a slow stop. Johnson still ended up going on to finish 9th. That wasn't exactly what ended up costing him the win, but it obviously could have costed him a couple positions on that final stop of the day. With another block. As it gets the car down to the bottom, and so does Dale Earnhardt Jr. Johnson wiggling the car back and forth down the back straightaway, trying to find something. Hit the like button down below, everybody, if you are watching. 13 people watching so far on this Friday night action of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. One of the tightest points battles that we have seen in our channel's history now. In any NASCAR video game. You would have saw it 2 days ago. The top 4 were within 97 points. The top 6 were all within 170. 174. Just a crazy battle. And still crazy. But after Martinsville last night, only half of the Chase drivers finished inside the top 10. We got Barbara the Bot in the chat. You know, I don't think these bots would be as bad as long as they were to hit the like button and subscribe. Actually, if they would have subscribed, it probably would have been deleted. Anyway, I don't think YouTube would have allowed that. Maybe Barbara hit the like button before she got kicked. Johnson all the way up. near the marbles. Oh, a little tag to that left rear corner panel of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Got him loose. Just got enough turn off. Jimmy Johnson to the lead in turn 3. Dale Jr., though, with the crossover down to the bottom. At the line, Jr. leads the lap. So again, Jimmy Johnson did not lead. By inches, Dale Jr. led that lap. Johnson trying to hold on again, and he's not going to do it. That was a great crossover by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Right back to square one for Jimmy Johnson. And now we've got some lap traffic coming up as well. Side-by-side lap traffic right in front of Jimmy Johnson. Johnson with a run off the exit of turn 4, taking it 3 wide, pinching Dale Jr. in the middle. Jimmy Johnson gets 5 bonus points. He just led his first lap of the race by less than a half a car length. Dale Jr. still trying to battle back as they're 3 wide again. Johnson's clear off turn 2. Big block back down to the bottom as the car got really light, really loose off the exit of the corner. Jimmy Johnson leads for the first time today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to again peek to the bottom, and he is there. At least Johnson was able to lead 1 lap because Jr. leads the next. Another lead change. 1/8 of a tank of fuel left for Johnson. That's it. Trying to hold on to the outside as much as he can. He's going to be able to do it that time. Side draps Dale Jr. You can see him wiggle a little bit. Got a tad loose off the exit of turn 2. And we've got some drivers pitting off of turn 4 this time. Jimmy Johnson gets the pole on the high side. He leads his second lap of the race. So back and forth go the 8 and the 48 towards the end of the fuel window. Johnson going way up the hill. And Junior's definitely going to be able to clear. Johnson going to try to cross him back over. Down to the bottom of the racetrack into turn 3. Jimmy Johnson just got Dale Jr. back. And for the first time now, Jimmy Johnson will lead consecutive laps. Junior's in the wall off turn 4. Junior pushed it too hard on the outside on those old tires. He gets into the wall now, and Jimmy Johnson pulls ahead to about a 3-car length lead into turn 1. Dale Jr. will pit now that he's lost the lead. Smart move that's likely going to get him back out in front, so Jimmy Johnson's going to try to lead as many laps as he can here by just staying out as long as he can now that Junior's already pitted before him. Try and get this race for the most laps led in. Minardi coming out of the pits. He's going to go to the outside as he tries to get up to speed, and that'll let the race leader, Jimmy Johnson, go by on the bottom. Minardi's got fresher tires. He'll probably end up putting a lot of pressure back on the 48 car, I would have to assume. Down into turns 1 and 2, it seems to be the case. Johnson got great turn in the race car that time. Walker into the pits, more clean air in front of the 48. That may help the handling a little bit. He's going to pit at lap 65. Will be the scheduled pit stop for Jimmy Johnson. So he'll stay out this time by again, and he'll pit at lap 65. Hoping for a caution. Not every car in the lead lap is pit yet. Obviously excluding the 48 car. So there it is, lap 65. Johnson pits this time now. Now Jimmy Johnson's the last car in the lead lap to pit. There it is, lap 65. Johnson making the big left-handed turn off turn 4. Pretty clean opening run of the race from the rear of the field towards the front. 4 tires of fuel for Jimmie Johnson. No adjustments to the 48 team. And no mistakes on the 48 crew with their first pit stop of the day. We'll see where Jimmie Johnson will cycle out of the pit lane. As he tries to get up to speed as quickly as he possibly can. He's going to pull up onto the track. No blend line violation today. He's going to try to slow down Dale Jr., who is behind these lap cars back here. And Jimmie Johnson, despite pitting about 3 to 4 laps after Dale Jr., is going to hold on to the race lead. Jr. to the inside of the lap cars into turn 3 as Johnson's still trying to get up to speed off of turn 4. Barely able to hold on as we stay caution-free through the first cycle of pit stops tonight at Atlanta. Pretty fun race, though, so far. Dale Jr. going to try to put a lot of pressure on Jimmie Johnson. Pressure tires, though, is probably going to help Johnson be able to stay down on the inside and likely stay in front of Jr. for some time. So he tries to get this battle back for the most laps led. Next scheduled pit stop for Johnson will be at lap 130. About another half hour, roughly. Barring a caution, of course. Johnson going to try to block Dale Jr. down low on the back straightaway into turn 3. Johnson a little loose. Overdrove the corner a bit. Up the hill he goes. Oh, wow. Jr. was very close to the outside wall off turn 4. He's pushing hard also. It's what the end of the season will bring out of these guys, pushing as hard as they can in the early going of a race that is 500 miles in length. Dan Clark, welcome to the stream. Actually racing at race car speeds tonight. Yes, we are. This is a fast mile and a half at Atlanta. Especially with only having a few years of wear on it as of the 2004 season. This was at the time where Atlanta was the best mile and a half on the circuit. For the second straight night, Dale Jr. is going to be the one to beat. I know he didn't finish second. He finished third last night to his teammate Michael Waltrip. Waltrip's strategy had cycled him out ahead of the 48, the 8. Johnson got around Waltrip with about 50 to go and then pulled away to a 2.8 second victory. But it is definitely going to be a track position kind of a race. And right now, Jimmie Johnson had the faster pit stop to cycle himself back into the lead after he took it a lap before Junior pitted. Junior leading a lot of laps early. The battle for the most laps led, and those extra 5 bonus points are going to be big. Especially if one of these two goes to victory lane. Dale Jr. has not won any of the first 6 chase races so far. He is tied for second. He's got 3 wins total in the season. Jeff Gordon owns the tiebreaker, who has 5 wins total on the year, and Gordon also has 1 win in the chase. He won in the last mile and a half at Charlotte. Davion West, welcome to the stream. Dale Jr. definitely putting a lot of pressure right now on the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, but Johnson's not cracking. Scott Wimmer's going to go wide, and he's going to make sure that he stays out of everybody's way. Johnson clears him. Dale Jr. caught Wimmer in a terrible spot off the exit of turn 2 as he fell in line behind him, and now he'll get under him into 3 and 4. Allow Jimmy to pull ahead about a car length or 2 down the back straightaway. Jr. going to have to try and get that momentum back again. I'm definitely going to try to remember to watch that Formula One race tomorrow morning. Saw they're tied for the points lead going into the final race at Abu Dhabi. Jesus Manuel Ortiz, welcome to the stream. Do I like the new DLC update? I have not played NASCAR 21 Ignition since the DLC update. Am I able to switch my paint schemes out for the career mode yet, or is that still not a thing? I'd like to be able to do that. Holman's got it. Well, I should say the 48 car has a couple extra paint schemes that I can't use them. I can't switch out the primary scheme in the career mode. I mean, the primary scheme is pretty good, but I'd like to be able to alternate it every race or so like I like doing. Lap 79 of the Bass Pro Shops MBNA 500 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Jimmy Johnson leads this race over Dale Earnhardt Jr. by a couple tenths of a second. Dale Jr. led about the first 57 laps of this race. Jimmy Johnson and him battled back and forth for a couple laps before the first set of green flag pit stops between laps 60 and 65. And Jimmy Johnson won the race off of the pit lane during the green flag stops, even with Junior pitting 4 laps before him. No adjustments from the 48 crew, and still no cautions in this race today as well. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Like these realistic commentary live streams for NASCAR video games, both past and present, as well as the real races on the weekend. All in the hopes of one day, hopefully getting into the booth for actual NASCAR races down the road. Jimmy Johnson a little bit faster than Dale Earnhardt Jr. Those last 2 laps has opened the lead up to 4 tenths of a second now, and I think Junior's just far enough behind that he can't keep up with the draft around this very fast 1.5 miles at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And he is losing time. To see how Johnson's going to get through these next 3 lap cars when he does catch them. See if Junior's got a chance to try and reel him back in again. The big difference maker there, too, was Dale Jr. catching Scott Wimmer in a bad spot. That kind of started Johnson slowly growing this lead, and now that Junior's not close enough to be in the draft anymore, there's no chance he's going to be able to keep up with the 48, considering how fast Johnson is on a short run. Johnson a full tenth of a second faster than Dale Jr. that last lap. Might not seem like much, but when you get 10, 20 laps into the run, that's a couple seconds different. Every 20 laps or so. Kyle Petty's going to go wide. He's definitely going to let Jimmy Johnson pass him with ease. Johnson's clear high off the exit of turn 2. Oh, we got a car in the wall in turn 2, but we do stay green. Somebody got up into the wall. You can see the aftermath of it with the smoke. Everybody gets by. Another close call to having our first caution, but we have not seen it yet. Started eating little Debbie snacks, snack cakes, and they sponsored the Wood Brothers. I remember when I was younger and they had the 21 car on the packages of the Little Debbies all the time. Ricky Rudd was driving for them. Specifically is when I remember it. It was around this time. 2003, 2004, 2005. I remember those days too, Patrick. Johnson gets around Robbie Gordon. I also remember Clint Boyer being on the Hamburger Helper boxes when he drove the 33 car. Richard Childress Racing. That was a little bit after. That was more towards like the early 2010s, late 2000s. I definitely remember that also. Jimmy Johnson got out to a 1 second lead over Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jr.'s gained about 1.5 over the last couple laps. Still got one lap car between the top two. Joe Nemechek pulling wide. Jimmy Johnson easily going to get underneath him. Johnson a little loose off turn 4, though. Side drafts to 0-1, sends it off into turns 1 and 2, trying to make his way around. I think Dale Jr. might be a little bit better on the long run. We're about halfway, almost halfway through this opening. Not the opening fuel run. It's still the opening green flag run, but the second fuel run of the race. Going back to the sponsorships, the food sponsorships in NASCAR, is there any other ones that I'm not able to think of, food-wise at least? Drivers were featured on like boxes or maybe in restaurants in some cases. Contact with Paul Menard. The exit of turn 4. Jimmy Johnson scrapes right on by him. Menard's going to cross him over into turn 1. Hopefully Menard's not going to hold up Jimmy Johnson too much. Johnson's going to have to run the outside now through turns 1 and 2. And Johnson's in the wall off the exit of turn 4. Trying to get by all 3 lap cars that just passed him. Dale Jr.'s closing in. We were just kind of waiting on. We were waiting to see if Jimmy Johnson was going to ever have a moment. The lap cars were going to start racing him back, and all it took was a little bit of contact. Johnson going a little bit too far wide off the exit of 4, trying to pass Menard. Menard crossed him over in the next corner. And now Junior is less than a half a second off the race lead. Tyler Reddick and Cheddar's. Is he actually featured there? That's a restaurant, right? I don't know. There's no Cheddar's around me, so I don't know if it's a restaurant or not. I didn't know about that, though. Dr. Pepper Bob Evans Farms, sponsors of teams used in driver ads. I don't remember the Bob Evans. I always remember seeing cutout Dale Jr.'s. Like if you went to like a drive-through that had alcohol, or in the alcohol section in certain places, they would always have Dale Jr. Budweiser statues. And then they had, pretty sure, Brad Keselowski Miller Lite one. Or they'd have like the NASCAR schedule with like a banner of, you know, Brad Keselowski's number 2 or Dale Jr.'s number 8, stuff like that. We're always seeing that stuff. Lap 100, that time by at the line, and Dale Jr. has closed on Jimmy Johnson after the 3 lap cars that were really racing the heck out of Johnson costed him enough. Dale Jr.'s back in the draft again. His car, again, might be a little bit better on the long run, on top of the fact that Johnson was struggling with those lap cars. A lot of clean air in front of these two right now at lap 101. Johnson trying to keep his car to the bottom, but he's not going to be able to. Dale Jr. to the inside for the lead. Johnson with a side draft. Junior should be able to pull clear off the exit of turn 2 this time, and he does. Johnson got an undercut down the back straightaway. Now he'll have the inside into turn 3 as they battle for the lead at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Johnson clears him off turn 4, and he's back out in front. So a good battle for the lead. Middle portion of this fuel stint. Bob Evans sponsored LaJoy 1999-2000. Gotcha. I did not know that, honestly. I wouldn't have been old enough to remember it. Johnson's hit his marks here the last couple corners, not giving up that bottom lane. Trying to make Dale Jr. pass him up high. Jr.'s going to stay consistent with trying the bottom. Isn't the 1 same as 01? If you're talking in technicality, I would think so. If you're talking about race car numbers as far as this race and NASCAR's history stuff goes, no. But yeah, you would think 0-2 would be the same as 2, 0-3 would be the same as 3. Because it's not like it's a decimal. It's not 0.1 or 0.2. Always found that kind of odd also. Jimmy Johnson going to try to go off strategy, and he's going to pit this time by at lap 107. It's early enough in the race. You'd have to assume in a 500-miler we're going to get a caution at some point. But he's hoping it comes after everybody cycles through, and he can try to break away from Dale Earnhardt Jr., which outside of when he had about a second lead, he hasn't been able to do that. So Johnson will short pit here. It'll be 4 tires and fuel for the 48 team. Did a great job making his way into the pits. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will take the lead once again at Atlanta. Yeah, the race car numbers. The race car numbers, technically not. Joe Nemechek would be in the 0-1 in this, and then the 1 car would be... Actually, the 1 wasn't... I don't think the number 1 was around in 2004, because Jeff Green, Steve Parks split in 03, and then Martin Truex Jr. didn't pop on the scene until 2005, I believe, was his rookie season. Or at least ran part-time in 05. He didn't run a full season then. Johnson getting up to speed. Jimmy Johnson short pitting. It's going to allow Dale Jr. to lead a lot of laps right now, but it should in return allow Johnson to lead more laps a little bit later on if it does stay green for quite some time. Truex part-time in 05, that's what I thought. But yeah, I don't think the... Oh, we got a car blowing an engine on the inside of the racetrack. That's the 10 of Scott Riggs. He's out of the way. And is likely down onto the apron in turns 1 and 2. Johnson was going to be able to make it to lap 130 before he pit. He ended up pitting at lap 107 instead. I would assume we're probably going to start seeing pit stops right around lap 115 to 120. There's Riggs down on the bottom of the track still. Harvick got a bit loose in the middle of the corner. He's on the lead lap. Johnson passes him. Kyle Petty's the next driver for position in front of the 48. In 2003 NASCAR at GameCube, Daytona speed was 200 miles per hour. It was racing number 56. And nobody that I know of would have been in the 56 car in 2003. I mean, somebody could have been. It probably would have been like a failed to qualify entry. Especially with the car counts they would have in certain races back then. Doubt they had it in the game, though. Career mode, I'm guessing. Or a custom car of some sort. Bobby Gordon, Ryan Newman on the outside of Johnson, who took it 3 wide in turns 1 and 2. Definitely a quiet race so far as incidents go. It's a compelling battle for the lead off and on between Dale Jr. and Jimmy Johnson in this one. Jr. started on the pole, so he's had a lot more laps led than Johnson, who started at the back so far. Well, Jimmy was starting to catch him before he short pitted. But in return, it should cycle him back out in front of Dale Jr. Jr.'s going to try to run it back down on fresher tires after the fact. Hopefully that will give Johnson enough time to lead a bunch of laps before giving that lead back up again to Dale Jr. Jeff Gordon making his way into the pits. He was in the top 5. Having a solid day after rebounding for a top 5 after crashing on lap 22 at Martinsville yesterday. Dale Jr. still on the track. Lap 120 for him at the start-finish line. Pitted at lap 61 earlier, so he may be pitting probably lap 122, if I had to guess. We do 2 61-lap runs. Pete Nelson probably going to want to pit this time. Johnson slides around him in 3 and 4. Goes up the track a bit. And there goes Nelson into the pits. Dale Jr. still out on the track. A lot more drivers in the pit lane. Johnson cycled up to 14th. He's the first car 1 lap down. Still 13 cars ahead of him have to make their second stop of the race. Junior stays out another lap. He's running the high side. Johnson's closing fast on fresh tires. Junior's got to be staying out of the pits this time with how high he's running in turns 3 and 4. And here comes Jimmy Johnson to try and unlap himself under green. Maybe he was staying out to catch a caution. Lap 123 now for Dale Jr. He could be staying out, not necessarily to catch a caution, but just to lead more laps, knowing Johnson's going to get the lead back. Jimmy's unlapped himself even before Dale Jr.'s pit, so that's pretty big. Junior down to the bottom finally in turns 3 and 4, and I think he's coming in this time. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Never mind. Thought he started to slow up. I guess that was just his car on older tires. Dale Jr.'s already gone further in this fuel run than what he did in the first fuel run of the race. And now Junior will pit at lap 124. The only leaders so far have been Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. We'll see if anybody else will lead, and yes, they will. Matt Kenseth will lead his first lap of the day. 5 bonus points for another Chase driver who comes in 6th place, 238 points out of first. We'll have 200 laps to go next time by. Kenseth in the pits. We'll see if anybody else stays up. Kenseth led that lap at least. Worked out though for Kenseth. Stays out about 2 laps longer. And now his teammate Greg Biffle will take the race lead. Biffle did not lead that last lap though. He's only 5 seconds ahead of Jimmie Johnson. Biffle not in the chase. Only 2 Roush drivers who made the chase were Kurt Busch and Matt Kenseth. And Kurt Busch is 8th in points, 269 back of points leader Jimmie Johnson coming into this one. First lap led of the day for Greg Biffle. He's now the 4th different leader, the first non-chase driver to lead tonight. And Biffle will pit this time. Stayed out long enough to lead 1 lap. Lead change at the line. Jimmie Johnson back out in front at lap 128 at Atlanta. And we'll have to see how big of a lead he will have over Dale Earnhardt Jr. Johnson pits 17 laps before Dale Jr. did. And that will give him a 9.1 second lead. So Dale Jr. will start to cut into that time, but Johnson's going to try to lead as many laps as he possibly can before he makes his 3rd pit stop of the race. If he extends this run out, which he will, considering he short pitted the stop before. So 65 laps from lap 107 would get Jimmie Johnson to about lap 172 before he'll have to make pit stop number 3. So about lap 172 is what Jimmie Johnson's looking at pitting next. Definitely going to take this run as far as possible. That last lap, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was about 1/10 of a second quicker than Jimmie Johnson on those 17-lap pressure tires. But Johnson's also got a better short run car, so once we get 25 to 30 laps into the run, I would think that Dale Jr. is only going to close even quicker than 1/10 or 2 a lap. To wait it out another 10 to 15 laps. To find out if that will be the case. Atlanta was the host of a lot of memorable finishes back in the 2000s and even into the early 2010s with this old configuration. It is now going to be repaved and reconfigured. The track going to get more banking in the corners. It's going to be narrowed up 28 feet in width, down from its current state as well. Clip the grass there. But with that being said, what is your favorite Atlanta finish of all time? / Atlanta race with this configuration? Comment in the chat down below. I think mine definitely has to be the Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick 2001 finish. I think further solidifying not only it was a special moment in NASCAR history, it was Kevin Harvick's 3rd career start, pulling off the upset with Richard Childress Racing only 3 weeks after the passing of Dale Sr. with that same race team. And it to be in a photo finish against what fans would presume, is one of Dale Sr.'s biggest rivals of all time, Jeff Gordon. Definitely a poetic moment, to say the least. I can still vividly remember Chocolate Myers crying tears of joy in the victory celebration after that win when Fox's cameras panned to the pit road. But further solidifying it is the fact that I have not that race win die cast, but I do have a Kevin Harvick 2001 rookie die cast that I got at Bristol, and it's signed by Kevin Harvick on the roof. So that's pretty cool. It's the only signed die cast I have. I didn't personally get it signed. I bought it signed. I always liked that, and then even his 2002 car, where it was all white again, but it had the black lettering. And for whatever reason, I always liked those cars. And maybe it was because of always remembering that memorable Atlanta finish back in 01. I don't think I would have been old enough to remember it happening live. But definitely a moment that will never be forgotten. Not just Atlanta history, but NASCAR history. Johnson's lead's only shrunk to about 8.5 to 8.6 seconds. Hold on to a pretty good lead for himself. Johnson just hit halfway on fuel down the back straightaway, that time at lap 140. So he's gone about 33 laps into this run so far, which should be able to make 65 laps with ease. Maybe not with ease, but should be able to make it 65 laps, considering he's pacing to make it 66. Not going to risk it 2 laps 66. He doesn't have to. He's going to continue to push until he has to pit. Then he'll give up that race lead again, likely back to Dale Jr. Perfect timing for a caution would be right before Johnson has to make his next stop. It'll be long enough for Johnson to, with ease, just lead a bunch more laps. Then right about lap 170, 171, if we get a caution for everybody to pit during the yellow, that would be the most ideal situation for Jimmy Johnson and helping him get the most laps led. Although I will say, a battle between Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. with the championship on the line would be pretty cool if it just stayed grain between these two going head-to-head the whole time. Especially now that they're on alternating strategies. .181 laps to go this time by. at hot Atlanta. Jimmy Johnson continues to lead. 8.3 seconds ahead of potentially Dale Earnhardt Jr. in second place. Wonder if it'll be possible if we'll have anybody be mathematically eliminated from championship contention with the 10 chase drivers once the checker flag flies tonight at Atlanta before we go green tomorrow at Phoenix. I'm not sure exactly what that point total would be off the top of my head. But Ryan Newman being 407 back, if he loses a bunch more points again today, I'm sure him and Bobby Labonte, even at 359 back, could definitely be within that window of potentially being eliminated today. We can go from 10 drivers down to 8 with a mathematical shot of winning the title with the final 3 races still to go. Very close within the top 5 still. They're definitely not going to fall out of contention today. Probably the dark horse of all 5 of those drivers has to be rookie Kasey Kane. Only rookie in the chase, only rookie with a win this season. Back at the Auto Club Speedway towards the end of the regular season, Kasey Kane was able to get his first career win in the second to last race of the regular season. He has had an outstanding playoffs. Ran very well, almost won at Talladega. Matt Kenseth's got his first win there on the season. And then there was another playoff race where Kasey Kane led a lot of laps at Charlotte as well. Ended up kind of falling back into the back half of the top 10 by the end of it, but he's had consistent runs. But his consistency has been mainly based on top 10s versus Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon. Most of their success in the chase has been top 5s. For 2 of those drivers' wins as well. So the lead is still shrinking with Dale Jr. on fresher tires. About 17 lap pressure tires, but he is not closing all that much. Now, Atlanta at this time period is nothing like Atlanta now, or at least before the repave. The track is not really bumpy. It's not like a cheese grater with these tires. In fact, with Atlanta being repaved in the late 90s, this track really only has about 6 years of wear and tear on it, with 2 races a season at the time. A lot less than the surface that was aged over 20 years for the repave, say this year or within the last couple of years. A lot of grip, very fast. Obviously still pretty wide. See if Michael Waltrip tries to block and help his teammate out at all. Just going to go to the outside. Johnson's just going to blow right by him in turns 3 and 4. Oh, Waltrip scrapes the wall off the exit in turn 4. Ricky Craven almost got into the back of him. Craven had to check up as well. Waltrip coming off his season best second place finish at Martinsville. And now he'll cut to the inside of Jimmy Johnson. Despite getting into the wall off 4. Contact now. Contact between the 48 and the 15. Craven's there. Now they're 3 wide off the exit of turn 4. And Johnson's stuck in the middle. More contact with Michael Waltrip. And Craven gets back by down to the bottom. Now he slides up the track. Johnson to the inside of the 32. And he'll clear Craven off the exit of turn 2. These lap cars are mainly Michael Waltrip is costing Jimmy Johnson. I wondered if that was going to happen, and that's exactly what ended up happening. Junior is able to close about a full second over that last lap and a half to 2 laps. Waltrip back to the inside of Craven as they battle for the free pass position off turn 4. Johnson's slowly getting away from him. $170 laps to go this time by. Almost halfway home. And the quarter tank of fuel left for Johnson. He's got about 16 laps until his next pit stop. Got one car in the pits right now as we speak. Not sure if that is a scheduled stop or not for whoever it may be. Tough to tell, and can't really tell who it is either. We'll have to keep an eye on the track map, see if that driver works his way back up onto the racetrack pretty soon, or if they're just going to stay in the pit lane. If so, that'll be the end of the night for somebody. I haven't seen that lap car move for about a lap and a half now. I think whoever that is going to have an early exit at a DNF here tonight. So it's two drivers now out of the race. We saw 8 DNFs in the last 500-mile race at Charlotte 2 races ago. It's just a common theme with the Gen 4 era in NASCAR. When it came to 500 and 600-mile races, a lot harder to make these engines tune the way they were and have them last to the end. The technology nowhere near where it is today. And it was even advanced for its time, but outdated as far as now goes. So engine failures were more prevalent. I bet it was Elliott Sadler. Wonder if Sadler's in this race. Probably not. He DNF'd in the last mile and a half, too, at Charlotte. Wasn't he only like 20 laps away from the finish? Maybe a little less than that. He's in the top 10. Elliott Sadler's NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 season in a nutshell. Either going to finish good or he's going to blow an engine. No in-betweens, really. So I think he won the Daytona 500 on this season. Definitely the biggest upset of the year. I guess it's arguable that the biggest upset this season is Casey Kane being 5th in points with 4 races to go as a rookie. That's just impressive. He was 7th in the regular season standings when the chase began, so he has moved up. So he is definitely one of the benefactors of the reset. Although with the consistency he's had, he may be in the top 5 anyway on regular points if it was a season-long championship. Junior must be struggling in lap traffic or something because the lead from 7.5 seconds was 7.7 at the start-finish line that time. 1/8 of a tank left of fuel for Johnson. He's got about 8 laps roughly until his 3rd pit stop of the day. And he'll give that lead back up for probably about another 15 to 20 laps again. I'm trying to think back to if we've had a caution-free 500-mile race this season. First Darlington race was 400 miles. That went caution-free. 2 caution-free races at New Hampshire, both 300 miles. And I'm trying to remember. I know there was another caution-free race, and I can't remember where it was at. I'm thinking it was Michigan, but I think I might be wrong on that. Maybe it was Chicagoland. I don't remember where the other caution-free race was. Sterling Marlin back to the inside of the 48. Johnson get a side draft Marlin down the back straightaway, trying to hold him up into turn 3. Johnson on the outside. Marlin swings wide now. Johnson with the undercut off the exit of turn 4 to run back alongside the 40. Still about a 7.5 second lead, lap 170. And Johnson will go to lap 172. That'll be a 65 lap run. So as far as he has pushed it on fuel already today, he's not going to push it any further at this point in the race. Hopefully it's another mistake-free stop for Jimmy Johnson. Did a great job through all 3 pit stops at Martinsville. And so far 2 for 2 tonight at Atlanta. We'll go one more lap. A 7.4 second lead at the line this time. Sterling Marlin's been all over his back bumper after Johnson crossed him back over himself. After Marlin had crossed him over the corner before. Johnson's back to rolling the bottom pretty well, though. Oh, man, he's out of fuel off of turn 2. This is going to cost Jimmy Johnson some time as he goes down to the apron of the racetrack. Oh, man, he started working his way back up. He didn't want to use any brakes, and Michael Waltrip just about ran into the back of the 48 car. Now he's going to have to get on the brakes as he enters into the pit lane at 70 miles per hour. 4 tires and fuel, no adjustments for the 48, so he runs out of gas off the exit of turn 2. Jeff Gordon will now take the race lead, getting himself 5 bonus points. So Gordon was able to run down Dale Jr. during that last run. Not really a miscalculation. I guess out of technicality it was a miscalculation for Jimmy Johnson, but he went 65 laps earlier in the race, and he got to lap 65 as he planned there at lap 172 to pit. Just ran it dry off the exit of turn 2. He's about a half a lap short. Could have been worse. Could have been on the front stretch. Definitely took Johnson by surprise. He's had an issue with that in the playoffs. For whatever reason in the chase, we've had an issue with trying to estimate how far we can go on fuel. Even though we knew the fuel run that time. Well, that's a little concerning going forward. I guess we'll just have to start pitting after 64 laps just to be safe now, instead of 65. Johnson back to being a lap down. He's going to try to make this time back up again. Dale Jr. wasn't far behind Jeff Gordon, but he is behind him, though. Dale Jr. stuck on the outside of lap car Mark Martin and almost got squeezed into the wall off of turn 2. It's going to cost him more time to Jeff Gordon, and now Gordon is going to pit from the lead, giving the lead back to Dale Jr. Martin with a big block on the 8 car. Now Jr. with a block on Jimmy Johnson. Johnson all the way down to the bottom. Dale Jr. really pinched him off. They were 3 wide for a very brief moment, but Jr. obviously took the line away of the 48 as he tries to block. Johnson going to get his lap back into turn 3. Now we'll have to see when Jr. pits. Johnson back on the lead lap in case we get a caution in the middle of green flag stops. Robert Weeks, welcome to the stream. So Jeff Gordon only pit a couple laps after Jimmy Johnson. There's Michael Waltrip. I wonder if Gordon's going to be able to cycle out in front of the 48. Junior's still out on the track. He was one of the last cars to pit that last time. Junior last pit at lap 124. Greg Biffle in the 16. He actually was the very last car to stay out on the racetrack last time around. Still on older tires right now. Johnson should be able to get around him before he ends up pitting. So this will be a pass for position. On the front stretch, Johnson to the inside of Biffle. Contact into turn 1. Well, that wasn't a clean pass. It was a pass nonetheless. Johnson's kept his car fairly clean tonight. Good job by Biffle keeping it off the wall at these high-rated speeds. See if Dale Jr. pits this time. Trying to get as many laps let in as he can. He's going to lead another one, staying out another lap. So we've had 5 different leaders, 4 chase drivers. Each of the top 3 have led laps today, with Johnson and Jr. leading the most. Gordon's led a couple now. Matt Kenseth has led 2 laps. And Greg Biffle is able to lead for 1 lap, but he is a non-chase driver. See if anybody else gets stretched the fuel window out to lead any laps for the first time this time around. Another bot down in the chat. Johnson underneath McMurray. Passes Jamie McMack. Jamie Mack. Jamie McBig Mac. He doesn't have McDonald's as a sponsor yet. He's still got the Haviland 42 car from Chip Ganassi Racing. Once he moves over to the 1, he'll have... once he moves over to the 1 car and then wins the Daytona 500, he'll forever have McDonald's. Part of the rest of his career onward. This is 2004. He's got to wait another 6 years. Yes, Biffle did drive part-time in 02. He was a full-time rookie driver in 03. Got his first career win at Daytona, the Pepsi 400 as well. That July race in that 2003 rookie season. Dale Jr. is now pitting at lap 187. Matt Kenseth will regain the race lead for the third time. Well, second time. It'll be the third lap. And he has led that time by. I'm thinking Johnson is ahead of Jeff Gordon. I don't think the 24 team had too fast of a pit stop. Kenseth staying out on the track, hoping for a caution. Bobby Labonte, one of the chase drivers, going to be a lap down once Johnson cycles back to the lead whenever Kenseth and whoever else is in second place decides to pit. Biffle's still on the track, but we also know that Biffle was passed already by Jimmy Johnson. Jeff Burton gets into the wall off the exit of turn 4. Now second place is Pitt. Kenseth's still out on the track. He's got no shot of leading the most laps today, so he's just basically hoping for a caution to trap a lot of drivers a lap down and locking himself in with a better finish. Still have not had a caution flag yet. We're almost 200 laps in at Atlanta. And if we saw last night at Martinsville, cautions breed cautions. And considering we went over 200 laps green to the end of the Martinsville race, we're about to go 400 consecutive laps without a caution. Kenseth is going to pit off from turn 4 this time. Johnson makes a 3-wide pass, including one on his teammate Brian Vickers, who was in the middle lane getting into turn 1. So it'll be a lead change at lap 191 this time by for Jimmy Johnson. Kenseth led that last lap in the pit lane as he works his way out of the pits now. Johnson has actually widened that gap out even more. An 11.3 second lead is the largest lead for Johnson in the race today. About 11.4 off the exit of turn 4 that time. I'd have to assume Gordon's probably in second place again after pitting before Dale Jr. We've seen a lot of 1-2 finishes for Hendrick Motorsports this season. I'm not sure how many exactly. I know there's a couple times when Gordon won, Johnson finished second. There's been a few times when Johnson's won, Gordon's finished second. Most recent 1-2 finish was at Kansas 3 races ago, where Jimmy Johnson got the win and Gordon finished about a half a second behind him in second place. So Johnson again will go 64 laps this time instead of 65. Means he ran out of gas off turn 2. It's also shocking that happened, and he's actually out with his biggest lead in the race right now. He's shrunk a few tenths of a second over the last couple laps. It's still just over 11-second lead. And he only had about a 7.5-second lead before he ran out of gas off of turn 2. And somehow he was able to extend that even with having to coast it into the pits. Almost tells me that Gordon and Dale Jr. had, I'd say more so Gordon Jr. stayed on the track probably longer than what he had at all this entire race for a full fuel run for himself goes. But Jeff Gordon definitely did not have a good stop in 2014. Fur Express, welcome to the stream. Oh my goodness, was looking at the chat about messed up. I'm doing a stream on Christmas. I don't plan on it. Christmas Eve, likely. Well, it depends. I'm probably gonna have to work Christmas Eve. It depends what time I get off. So I know we usually have Christmas with my grandparents on Christmas Eve. So if I have to work a full day, if I get off at noon like I did the day before Thanksgiving, then I'll definitely do one in the day. But I'm not entirely sure what time I'm working till yet. I've not been told what the hours are going to be. She didn't even tell us about the Thanksgiving one until like 5 days beforehand, so I probably won't know for another week or so yet. But definitely not on Christmas. I'll probably end up doing a premiere though on Christmas Eve, like at night, kind of like I did with Thanksgiving. Had a premiere at like 8 o'clock. Do the same thing on Christmas, and then probably Christmas Eve too. If I can't stream Christmas Eve, I plan on streaming Christmas Eve, but no guarantees right now. It'll be lap 200 this time by for Jimmy Johnson, back to an 11.3 second lead once again. We'll have 126 laps to go this time by. Got a job at Amazon. Oh, congratulations. Heard it can be very busy, but I've also heard that it can be fun, so you'll have to let me know on that. I applied there when I was looking for jobs a little over a year ago, but I didn't get anything back. But I'm glad I'm working where I am, though. I think I'm in a good spot currently as far as work goes, and having a flexible schedule like I have now to be able to do stuff like this is pretty cool. But Danica LePaged Ricky Stenhouse, welcome to the stream. That is getting a little violent down in the chat. I think that's Kurt Busch out in front of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. He's probably going to race Jimmy pretty hard to try and stay on the lead lap. Could get the free pass for being the first car lap down, but I don't think he wants to hope for that. Though we have not had a caution at all today. You just wonder, can this race go green to the end? These guys are only about 2 pit stops out from the finish now. I don't think they can make it on one. It's probably going to be a 2-stop race, with another short pit coming at some point in time late. 18 an hour warehouse. Yeah, that's about what I'm making. I think I'm making 18.25 right now. I started at 17.25, but I've already gotten 2 50-cent raises in the first year. I haven't even been there a full year yet. Almost a full year. So that's pretty cool. Johnson to the inside of Busch. Side by side on the front stretch. And Kurt is going to go a lap down. It looks like Johnson clears him off the exit of turn 2. They do work the heck out of you, though, so you definitely got to be prepared. You got to know what you're getting into, that is for certain. But that's kind of any warehouse job, though, mostly. But that's kind of like what I've heard. It's like Amazon pays good, it can be fun, but you're working a lot of hours. I don't know how flexible their scheduling is. Maybe overtime's not mandatory. I have no clue. Never worked there. That's just hearsay, too, so don't take my word for it. That's just stuff that I've heard. So take it with a grain of salt. Lap 206. Let me know down in the chat. Do you think this is going to stay caution-free tonight at Atlanta? And this could become our 5th caution-free race of the season. We have not had a 500-mile race go caution-free ever on the channel, let alone with NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. We had 4 races on NASCAR Thunder 04 that went caution-free. Oh, never mind. The Daytona 500 went caution-free on NASCAR Thunder in 2004. But it would be the first 500-mile race to go caution-free in this game. And we are definitely well past halfway. It's like a secret of 16 work. Hey, I worked at McDonald's too. I still say to this day that McDonald's is a great job for high schoolers looking to get into the workforce and looking for their first job. I think it's a great first job to have. I mean, unless you don't want to be 40 years old working at McDonald's unless you're a manager making a bunch of money an hour. But I mean, unless you're a manager, you don't want to be working at McDonald's when you're 40 years old. But when you're in high school or when you're looking for your first job, maybe you're in college, it's a great place to work. It's a great experience for the real world. You're working with customers hand on. It's great. It's really organized, honestly. Outside of the job I have right now, and McDonald's is honestly really up there too. Between the job I have now and McDonald's, it's the most organized job I've ever had. I'd probably even say McDonald's is more organized than Home Depot, but that's only because it's a warehouse and there's a lot of people there, so it could get kind of hectic at times, but especially if you're new. Which, I mean, I'm sure that was the case at McDonald's too, but it's the most organized job I've ever had. It's just you're making not that much money an hour unless you're working inner city. Inner city pays. I was seeing up when I was in Toledo for a doctor's appointment the other day. There were signs about $14 an hour, $15 an hour to work at McDonald's in Northwest Ohio. And I remember I was making minimum wage when I was working there. If I was making $14, $15 an hour, I probably wouldn't have left when I did when I was 18, to be completely honest. Because when I went to work at a Lowe's store, I was still making less than $14, $15 an hour. I wouldn't have left if I was making that much. John, welcome to the stream. The going is pretty good. What is up with that sandwich? The McGangbang. Somebody, that was ordered a couple times because I was always one initiating on the headset, so I'd be the one, like starting the sandwich, essentially starting the order. As far as like the sandwiches and the food goes, I was starting the order. So I could hear the drive-through. I could hear the audio of the drive-through, and somebody had ordered that a couple times, and we have this, I don't think she works there anymore, but at the time we had this older lady. She was kind of closer to retirement. It was her retirement job, essentially. She was like in her 60s, and somebody ordered that. She was working the drive-thru, and it was later at night. I remember it was probably like 10:30. We weren't too far away from being closed, and you just hear some high schooler like go through. I know who it was too because I had gone to school with him, and I knew who it was. I didn't know until the next day. I was like, "Oh, that was you." But anyway, I knew who it was, and he ordered that. And she's like, "What? I'm a gangbang? What's that? Tell me what that is." I was laughing so hard when I heard that. I can still remember that vividly. Probably one of the funniest moments that happened when I worked there. So for that reason, yes, I do know what that is. Where it came about, I have no clue, other than the internet. The internet answers most of life's unsolved mysteries. Then there was another time that that was another funny moment too. There was somebody else that did it. I didn't know who did it the next time through. Anyway, the next time through, somebody else did it, and I had another manager working, and the manager was the one working the drive-through when he said that. And I thought he was gonna just, I don't know, I didn't think he was gonna lay into him, but I thought he was gonna tell him to like order something serious or something. So anyway, he ordered it, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, that's a McChicken McDouble, right?" and then just like took it as a regular order. The guy in the drive-thru was even laughing, or the kid, whoever it was, probably a high schooler, again, but in the drive-thru was even laughing. He's like, "Yep." And he's just like, "Oh, okay." It's like, "Is that gonna be it?" And he just went through like a normal order, didn't phase him, and the fact that he knew what it was too. He was older too. That was the funny. I mean, he wasn't like really old, but he was probably in his 40s. Again, if you're in your 40s working at McDonald's, make sure you're a manager. He was one of the head guys there. It was hilarious. Both those moments together were probably some of the best time working there. There's I think that's probably the only story I think I've ever told from working at McDonald's on the channel. So there you go. That's what happens when you're caution free in a 500-mile race, 219 laps in, with a 12.8 second lead. Get the random untold stories. So 64 laps from lap 172, where Jimmy Johnson last pit, would make it lap 236 is when Johnson will make his next scheduled pit stop. And that would be with exactly 90 laps to go. So it is a two-stopper to the end. And even for the drivers that are going to try to stretch it a little bit further, I don't think they'll be able to make it a one-stop. They'd have to really get to right around 66 laps to go. If they're 70 or more, there's no chance that they're going to be able to make it. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to go 20 laps beyond Johnson anyway. Furthest we've ever seen anybody go was Matt Kenseth that last run, and he only went maybe about 15 laps more. So he'd have to stretch probably 2.5 to 3 laps total in each of the next two runs for Kenseth to be able to make it to the end. Any McDonald's hacks you want to share with us? I don't know what kind of hacks you're talking about, like how stuff's made. Everything is pre-frozen. It's not fresh. It's fresh in the sense that we, do grill it and warm, or we did. I don't work there anymore, but that it was grilled and prepared. So like it's not fresh, but it's not. I don't know if it's processed or not. I don't know if it's pre-made. I think some of it is pre-made, but not all of it. Some of it might be processed. I'm not really sure. I would probably go on the record to say that the beef is not processed. I don't think it is. Like, I think the chicken nuggets were probably processed. Stuff like that was probably processed, but it was all frozen. It all just kind of came off a truck and loaded it into the freezer. And when stock was running low, and our mini freezers we had next to the grills and stuff, and we'd refill it back in the freezer. Truck would come a couple times a week. Walker just put it in the wall off the exit of turn 4 after Jimmy Johnson cleared him. Outside of that, though, I don't really know. There's no hacks. I'm not gonna say something is just completely made up of. I'm not gonna say that we slaughtered the cows back in the freezers where nobody was looking. We did that kind of stuff never happened. Had live chickens running around in the back storage unit. That stuff was not going on. It wasn't going on in my McDonald's. I can't attest for every however many millions of McDonald's there are in the world, but I can guarantee the one that I worked at in Northwest Ohio did not have any sort of criminalistic animal behavior going on in the back that would have resulted in a health inspection gone wrong where PETA was brought in and a bunch of unsolicited charges. Nothing like that happened. I don't really have any like wild. The only wild customer story I could think about, there was this crazy lady that would. She was like a regular. Okay, so just a regular that would come in. She usually was eating in the lobby. I would work if I worked during the week. I would get off of high school and I'd have to be in by 4. I got off of school just before 3, so I had a little over an hour to get there. And this lady would always be in there, so she was a regular, and she was always kind of known as like kind of like a nutcase. Like people would talk about her in the back, whatever. Obviously, she couldn't hear like any people back there, and I'd never seen anything firsthand, so I'm not one to judge a book by its cover. Listen to anybody else, talk about somebody. I'll take it with an open mind, but I'm not going to judge the person based off of what other people say. I'm going to judge them based off of how I view them. Well, I saw this lady become the nutcase that she supposedly was. There were high schoolers. I don't know if they were saying anything to her. I don't think they were. I think they were just being loud, and she wanted them to be quiet as she was eating or whatever. And she was throwing ketchup at them, and it was open too. It wasn't like the packets of ketchup. It was like the cups of ketchup that you would go and have to fill them up. She was throwing like cups of ketchup at them, and we had to kick her out. And we ended up banning her from the lobby. She was able to go through the drive-thru if she wanted to, but we banned her from the lobby. Because I don't think though. I doubt those kids were above the age of 18. So I think that was probably the best thing for her was that she just got banned. And as far as I know, I don't think she had any charges put up against her, as far as I know. But that's like the only like crazy customer case that I could ever remember working there. I don't remember seeing her throw the ketchup, but I heard what happened, and I was hearing a bunch of yelling going on, like when they were telling her to get out. Just, I mean, you had to be there. You had to be there to really like witness it. Pretty good at being able to like telegraph things and try to paint a picture in your guys' head. That's about the best interpretation that I can do for you guys. With words at least. I'm not going to actually throw ketchup at my laptop or anything. Give you guys the visual. Oh, premium. Talking nonsense now. Johnson's next pit stop should be coming up within the next 3 to 4 laps. Just less than 100 laps to go at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Lead is down to about 10.9 to 11 seconds even. It was 12.8. Johnson's been fading a little bit as this run is carried on. Hasn't really struggled in lap traffic. Definitely has a better short run car than what he does a long run race car. So that's been definitely a big reason why that is the case. Three wide off the exit of turn 4 with Joe Nemechek and Jeff Green. Still 3 wide into turn 1. Nemechek's going to clear Green to the outside. Now they're still side by side off the exit of turn 2. Johnson a little loose. Good job keeping it off the 0-1. Had to lift a little extra to make sure that was going to happen. And now he'll clear Nemechek off the exit of turn 4, it looks like. Oh, Nemechek put it in the wall. Jeff Green gets out of the gas to keep from running into him. 90 laps to go now at Atlanta. Johnson will pit this time by. This is lap 64 of his current fuel run. Make sure he gets to the bottom and make sure Joe Nemechek doesn't get back underneath him. So So 90 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson will pit with a 10.4 second lead. Getting a little loose off the exit of turn 4, trying to back the car down. Doesn't want to speed. Great job. Wasn't perfect pit road entry, but he was able to carry a lot of speed off the exit of 4 and still brake well in time to avoid a pit road speeding penalty late. Mistake-free once again for the 48 crew. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the lead, so he definitely cycled ahead of Jeff Gordon. More laps being led for the 8. I believe Johnson's led the most so far. Should be trying to get up to speed down the back straightaway. He's currently back in the 14th position, but he is still on the lead lap. I'll just have to wait and see when everybody else pits. Johnson to the outside of Jamie McMurray into turn 1. Buck got squeezed at the last second down the front stretch. Now he'll go to the inside of McMurray into 3 on the next lap. And he'll get around him with a clean pass. Well, Johnson pitted, and we got other drivers pitting about a lap after. A lap to 2 laps after. Green flag pit stops will continue for the 4th different time at Atlanta Motor Speedway, as we are still caution-free with less than 100 laps to go. In this 500-mile race for the Bass Pro Shops MBNA 500. Gracie Dale Jr. hasn't even pit yet, and Johnson's only 24.7 seconds off the lead. Yeah, I don't really eat fast food too much anymore, at least. I've started eating a lot better over even just really this week alone. Been eating really healthy. Eating a lot of protein and a lot of water-based foods. Trying to bulk up this winter. Just got back into working out about 3 weeks ago, so already seeing some results. Trying to get back, not only get back to where it was 2 years ago before COVID hit, or a year and a half, a little over a year and a half ago before COVID hit, but I'm trying to get even beyond that and work on what I was working on even before that. Thanks for stopping by for Express. Dale Jr. still out on the racetrack. Really just, he's hoping for a caution. Really doesn't matter if we get a yellow at this point. He'll be on the lead lap regardless. It'll be more beneficial. Oh, contact off turn 4 between Casey Mears and Dale Jarrett. Johnson never had to check up, but that was right in front of him. It's the 9 car, Casey Kane, getting tight. He goes up the track off the exit of turn 2. Johnson barrels it on down underneath him. Might have actually been for position. Kane might still have to make his stop. Looked like there was another car up in smoke down in the pit lane. Couldn't tell who it was. Tony Stewart, Scott Wimmer side by side off the exit of turn 2. Dale Earnhardt Jr. still out on the track. Lead is just under 22 seconds at the start-finish line. Johnson's up to third. Matt Kenseth, Dale Jr. are the last two cars on the racetrack. Jr. is still the leader of the two. Can they make it on one more pit stop? As of right now, they run with 77 laps to go. Ideally, if they can make it to about 66 to go, they will have a chance to try and make it on one more pit stop. Dale Jr. stays out another lap. Kenseth's going to have a better shot, though. Dale Jr. has been pitting about 3 to 4 laps even before Kenseth. I didn't think either of them had a chance to make it on just 4 pit stops today in a 500-mile race. But I guess it's not impossible. That could be big for either one of them. Jr. staying out again. Well, there's pizza now. I will be eating leftover grilled chicken and mashed potatoes for dinner. Oh, jeez. Ricky Craven got into the wall after contact with Jimmy Johnson off the exit of turn 4. He was glued to the wall all the way down the front stretch once Johnson got into it, too. Dale Jr. is in the pit lane, and he actually stayed out a little bit longer than Matt Kenseth by about a lap. 75 laps to go with Dale Jr. in the pits. So with 74 to go, we'll have the official lead change in. Jimmy Johnson is back out in front once again at Atlanta. We have cycled through a 4 set of pit stops. And we'll probably be seeing some drivers pit when the window opens here about 10 to 15 laps. Elliot is crazy. Welcome to the stream. I don't think I've ever had Hunt Brothers. I might have had Hunt Brothers pizza, but I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure. I had a tuna melt from Subway for lunch today. I need to get some tuna for myself, so I quit going to Subway to buy it. Make up some tuna. Making myself hungry now just thinking about it. Now this is Johnson's largest lead of the race, 16.3 seconds, so it's about a half a track, a little over a half a track lead. Definitely all working itself out. So weird not seeing the dislike count. Yeah, I've actually kind of gotten used to it already. At first, I definitely didn't get used to it. I personally don't like it as a content creator because if you do, have like a mistake with a video, you're not really going to be able to tell, what the reaction is outside of the comment section. And with not having, I'm sure that you could probably tell based off the comment section if you have a bigger following, but because this channel is still relatively small, with just over 1.3 thousand subscribers, currently, so I don't get a lot of comments after the streams. So you can't really get great feedback, and usually most of the comments on streams are, from you guys that might have missed it or missed the actual live chat during the course of the race. So that's the reason why I don't like it. Story workout will make the pizza at the deli. Oh, that's pretty nice. So everybody has to make one more pit stop to the end. What has been a caution-free race so far. Right on the edge of the window as of right now. The only thing that would make this not a one-stop race for everybody is if we had a caution like right now or within the next couple laps at the edge of the window. That would really be the only way that this running order could get shaken up even more substantially with a caution than if it were just to come out late in the race, which would still be a big thing to happen. Jimmy Johnson's going to stay out as long as he possibly can. He's got a 16.4 second lead into turn 3 that time. So he's got time to give up if somebody wanted to short pit in the top 5 behind him. He'd be willing to sacrifice a little bit of time. He'll get that back on fresh tires. And I honestly, with the pace he runs, even though he's not as fast on the long run, he's got a better short run car than a long run car. I still think he's got enough pace that he could stay out as long as he could, even if somebody were to pit right now. And he should hold on to the lead without even having to regain it back in those last 30 laps. Or whatever it is that he decides to pit. If he goes 64 laps again, he'll have to pit with about 26 laps to go, would be the estimated next pit stop for Jimmy Johnson. And then Dale Jr. and Matt Kenseth could probably go about 10 laps beyond that. Maybe a little more. Being generous, of course. 14 people watching right now. Currently watching the Bass Pro Shops MBNA 500 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the 7th race of the NASCAR Chase for the Nextel Cup Series. NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. The live stream edition, of course, as always. Like, share, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Like these realistic commentary live streams for NASCAR video games and real races during the season. And much other content on the channel. 60 to go. 2 more laps. Potentially looking at a 4th caution-free race this season. And to come this late in the year, to make it even bigger. We got our first drivers making their pit stops now. Handful of drivers in the pit lane, short pitting as this window is open to make it on fuel to the end of the race. So now late caution will not really do anything to the pit strategy itself. Almost lost the race to the 73. Oh, I think you're talking about NASCAR Heat 5. You talking about Heat 5 or NASCAR 21? Yeah, we definitely had some crazy finishes on the channel. We haven't really had one in a long time. I remember we had a stretch there for about a month. It seemed like every other night we were having just a crazy close finish that was coming down to the final couple laps. That's the one thing that's nice about doing the full races is when you come down to those races, the anticipation just builds and builds and builds those final 30, 40, 50 laps. And the fact that it basically comes out of nowhere anytime it does happen, not out of nowhere, you can see it slowly developing. But it makes it even more impressive that it happens. Only adding to the realism. Jimmy Johnson just clinched the most laps led when he led that last lap of the start-finish line. So for the 5th race in a row now, Jimmy Johnson will have led the most laps, scoring 10 bonus points. And he's trying to go for back-to-back wins, which would be back-to-back max points days with it. It would be his 4th win of the chase in general, and it would be 3 wins in the last 4 races for Jimmy Johnson if he can get it done today. He's going on an absolute tear here to the end of the season, trying to throw this championship lead out as much as he can. There's a tie for second between Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon, with Gordon having the tiebreaker coming in. Those two have led laps, so they will get 5 bonus points each. And they were both inside the top 5 the last we saw of them. Michael Waltrip came out of the pits a few laps ago. He's on fresher tires. He gets down to the inside of Jimmy Johnson off turn 4. Going to cost Johnson a little bit of time. Now he pulls up and blocks him, and Johnson's going to cross him back over in 1 and 2. And Jimmy, with a slide job of his own, clears the 15 with a great crossover in the same corner that Waltrip had passed Johnson. Down into 1 and 2 again, Johnson beats the 15 to the bottom. So Waltrip's trying to race the heck out of Jimmy Johnson with his fresher tires and slow him up so his teammate Dale Jr. has some sort of a chance to try and get him in these closing laps. And Heat 5. Yeah, it was the Daytona night race, wasn't it? Custom schedule, final race of the round of 12. .52 to go. Waltrip again trying to battle back past the 48. Johnson, for the most part today, has kept his car perfectly clean. Right front tire starting to go away on the 48. Just a bit. 103 car on the outside of Jimmy Johnson off the exit of turn 2. Waltrip still looking low into 3. Johnson running that same line to make sure the 15 stays behind him. Greg Biffle in the 16 car just up ahead. Oh, wow. Johnson got really loose off turn 4 that time. Waltrip almost got to the outside of the 48, but not quite. Definitely a big wiggle. And Johnson clears Biffle off turn 2. Waltrip to the inside of the Biff. And Waltrip down to the bottom of Johnson again in 3 and 4. Well, he's trying to hold up the 48. And he's going to clear him now into turn 1. Johnson's in the wall. Johnson bounced it off the wall. Got back down to the bottom. Clears Waltrip off the exit of turn 4. Now he's got contact with Greg Biffle in the 16. This is not ideal for Jimmy Johnson. Now the 103 is going to get down to the bottom. Just never easy. Never just right off into the sunset. And they have something. Biffle to the bottom. Johnson stuck on the outside, just trying to hold his line desperately. With a little bit older tires off the exit of turn 4. He's going to get really loose down into 1. Great job keeping it off the wall. Waltrip's going to get in front of him now. Great undercut off the exit of turn 2 to get back to the inside of the 15. And this is not at all what Jimmy Johnson wants to see right now. All these guys racing him straight up. Past both cars. Turns 3 and 4. Waltrip to the bottom of the 103. And now Johnson back to the bottom in 1 and 2 on the Biff. Slide up in front of him. Leads down to 13.6 seconds. It was 16.6. Biffle, Waltrip crisscrossing each other. Casey Kane closing in. Johnson just kissed the wall again off turn 2. I think that's Casey Kane in the 9 car trying to get into the free pass position. Hoping for a late race yellow to get back on the lead lap. Not sure what position he's in or how many cars are on the lead lap. Handling this 48 car has really gone away over this long run compared to any others. Feels like it, at least. Johnson hasn't had a great long run car today anyway. I don't know if it was that he had super heavy traffic around him there for those 4 or 5 laps. That probably did him in as well. Was using the tires up even more. Put the right side tires on the yellow. Quarter tank of fuel left for Jimmy Johnson. 40 laps to go this time by at Atlanta. 12.7 second lead. And shrinking still. If you were in second place, do you consider short pitting, hoping this stays green to the end? try to gain as much time as you can over the next 15 to 20 laps before Johnson pits. Now they call him back out again. Johnson's thrown the lead back out to 12.8, so he's a little bit quicker. He's getting 0.2 of a second over the last couple laps on second place, so he's starting to pull that lead back out again. Walter fought hard for his teammate. I'll say that much. I guess you could say Biffle fought hard for his teammate, considering Kenseth's having a good run in the race order right now as well. Left rear in the yellow, both the right sides in the yellow. Now the left front's in the yellow. All four tires in the yellow now. You just saw in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, damage indicator. Not much damage on the day for Jimmie Johnson. It's been a clean, straightforward race so far. Caution-free, almost 300 laps in out of 325. Johnson edging closer to that first career championship in the inaugural chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup in this 2004 season. Just his third year in the Cup Series. Outside of those drivers who were pitting with about 60 to go when the window first opened, we haven't seen anybody pit since. I'm sure again that will be happening fairly soon. It will be a 4-tire stop for Johnson and his crew. It'll be the 5th and final one of the day. Hopefully no mistakes once again. Earl Arnold Jr., welcome to the stream. Eighth of a tank of fuel left for the 48. Your top 10 streak came to an end. That's a bummer. Johnson pushing a little tight that time. He was battling a loose car, and then it started pushing up the track a bit. That time around, Pete Nelson in the 153 car dives back underneath him. What is with Pete Nelson? I swear, every race we see him in, which he runs part-time and barely runs any of the races, he always races the heck out of Jimmie Johnson. He was doing it earlier in the race when we were trying to get through the field. Johnson all the way up in the marbles. And now Tony Stewart's down to the bottom underneath him. He got a little loose off turn 2, but he stays in it. And he's boxed in. Oh, and he's going to go 3 wide up the middle. Stewart's going to pull clear. Johnson clears Nelson. Casey Kane's back in it again. .30 laps to go at Atlanta. Stewart and Kane battling for the free pass position. And/or trying to get back on the lead lap. Johnson down to the bottom to block Kane. Rolled all the way through 3 and 4 really well that time. Kane to the inside off of turn 2, underneath the 48 of Johnson. Oh, contact between the 48 and the 9. Kane back on the lead lap. Stewart to the inside of the 48 now as well. That contact not going to help. More contact between Stewart and Johnson. Stewart passes Casey Kane for position. Johnson crosses back over on the 9. Can't quite clear him off the exit of turn 2. The Chase drivers fight for all they have late in the season. Love Marilyn Manson. Welcome to the stream. .26 to go this time by. So Johnson will stay out of the pits this time. He will pit the following time. Casey Kane's going to pit right now. Trying to pit a lap earlier than Jimmy Johnson to hopefully get back out on the racetrack ahead of him as we hit lap 300. Johnson just going to have to make sure he gets to the bottom into turn 3 and make sure Tony Stewart does not get back underneath him again. So Jimmy Johnson will pit this time off of turn 4. So Johnson will pit. Ooh, slides the tires quite a bit. 70 miles per hour is the pit road speed limit. Easily gets down. 4 tires and fuel for the 48 of Johnson. His final pit stop of the day. Coming to 25 to go. Johnson looking for back-to-back wins and trying to win 3 of the last 4. Be in 5th place. He'll hand over the race lead for now. He will remain on the lead lap, though, if we did get a caution. Johnson currently scored in 5th. Dale Jr. going to stay out of the pits another lap. Again, Johnson's already clinched the most laps led. The big thing now is if we get a caution, that will give Johnson the race lead, but it will give a couple lap, at least fresher tires to the drivers who would restart behind him on the lead lap. I just cannot believe that we have gone caution-free this entire race. About to be the 4th time this season we'll have a caution-free race. And for the first time ever on this game, it will be in a 500-mile race. One car blowing an engine on the inside of the racetrack. That was the 178. Will continue to stay green as he tries to limp it to pit road. Come Max Verstappen, Maxi Ben. That's a nickname that absolutely nobody would want. 20 laps to go for race leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. When will he make his final stop of the day? Junior stays out another lap. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles one more time in today's race when we get back to the start-finish line. There'll be 19 laps to go for Jimmy Johnson. There'll be 18 laps to go for Dale Earnhardt Jr. this time by. Johnson on the inside of the pit. Again, Dale Jr. stays out of the pits. Matt Kenseth's still on the racetrack as well. He's currently scored in second. Matt Kenseth in the pits this time. Couple lap cars going with him as well, it seems. Dale Jr. stayed out one lap longer than Kenseth the last time. We'll see if that'll be the case this time with Jr. on the track. Nope, Dale Jr. will stay out another lap. So at least 2 laps longer this time around. Jr. stays out versus the 17 to Kenseth. – 2009 Toyota Indy 300 at Homestead was caution-free. It was a stunner. Yeah, I actually haven't seen that. Caution-free races could very well be stunner. The 2002 Talladega race was a stunner, and that was caution-free. That came down to the wire, too. I'm thinking of the right Talladega race. I'm trying to think of the one that Bobby Hamilton Sr. won. Dale Jr. pit that last lap, so Jimmy Johnson has just retaken the race lead. It'll be an official lead change when we get back to the start-finish line at lap 313 with 13 laps to go at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We haven't really even seen many near accidents in this race either. It has just been a straightforward, calm race. We saw a great battle in the first half of the race between Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. Johnson short-pitted that one time for his second stop of the day at lap 107, and ever since then, hasn't really been much of a battle. Still 15.4 second lead for Jimmy Johnson off of turn 4 this time by. Ten laps to go at Atlanta. Now if we get a caution, it would be a single file restart and all the lap cars would have to line up behind the lead lap cars. So they would not be in the way. We'll go back to the far chase cam for the rest of this race. I'll tell you what, the pace of this race flew by for 500 miles considering it did go caution-free. We're going to get this done in less than 3 hours. So not as long of a night as I thought it was going to be. Six laps to go for Jimmy Johnson. Brendan Gaughan's had a pretty good day so far. He'll go a lap down. Elliott Sadler is the next lap car ahead of Jimmy Johnson. So Sadler's still in the race. Can he make it 5 more laps this time by? Oh yeah, Speed Channel was where it was at, that's for sure. I'm sure every motorsport fan in America misses Speed Channel. Gaughan got back to the inside of Johnson. Johnson was able to get a good run off the exit of turn 2 and be able to block him back off all the way through turns 3 and 4. 4 laps to go. Johnson to the inside of Elliott Sadler. Oh boy, big wiggle. Overdrove the middle of the corner. He was able to clear high on the 38 though. Stayed in the gas, he just kind of wiggled his way out of it. No cautions come out on the final lap. Just a reminder for you guys. So we have 2 laps to go that time by for Jimmy Johnson. Just trying to get to the white flag now. Elliott Sadler in the 38 down low. Trying to get his lap back at the very finish. Johnson enters really deep into turn 3. At least with this corner entry, not so much the speed of the car. Kind of flatlined the corner. Held on to it, though, with fresher tires. So white flag in the air. 1 lap to go. This will be the 4th caution-free race of the year. And the first ever caution-free race for a 500-miler on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. And a 500-mile race in nearly record race time. Well under 3 hours. Checkered flag waves. Jimmie Johnson will win back-to-back, 3 of the last 4, and his 4th win of the chase. Johnson is just 3 races away now from a championship. Big-time win for Jimmie Johnson and another stepping stone forward into his quest for his first title. Only 2 hours and 43 minutes to race 500 miles. That is insanely fast. What was the average speed of the race? Average speed of the race is 183.77 miles an hour. What's the fastest race ever in NASCAR? Like 186 or 188? I think it was like 186 at Talladega. It was one of those Talladega races. I think it was 97. One caution free. Jimmie Johnson leads 206 laps in this 325 lap race in quest to a max points day. 15 lead changes total. Most of them were during green flag pit stops, although Jimmie Johnson, Dale Jr. did trade the lead back and forth on the track there for a few laps earlier on. Jeff Gordon led 5 laps, finishing 3rd. So how about that? Even though Jimmie Johnson dominates, wins a caution-free race by about 15 seconds, he's not going to gain that many more points on Jeff Gordon and Dale Jr., who finished 2nd and 3rd behind him. So the top 3 in points finished 1, 2, 3 today. Ryan Newman, the number 10 seed as of right now coming into this race, is going to finish 4th with no laps led. Elliott Sadler rounds out the top 5. Good run for him. Matt Kenseth finishes in 6th with 6 laps led. Tony Stewart 7th. Casey Kane 8th. Kurt Busch 9th. Rusty Walsh rounds out the top 10. Other chase drivers to finish outside the top 10 would be Bobby Labonte in 12th. And Kevin Harvick finishes 41st with a DNF. And that will likely put rookie Casey Kane up another spot in the point standings to 4th. What a year for Casey Kane. So Harvick blew an engine somewhere in there. I didn't see him blow an engine. I did see a few guys blow an engine. I remember Riggs blowing one, and Wagner. I remember him blowing one too. So Scott Riggs, Ricky Rudd, Kevin Harvick, Wagner, and Gibson all DNF. So 5 engine failures. Not bad. Usually have more for 500-mile races, especially if this going caution-free. I mean, that's asking a whole lot out of your engine. No cool-down time at all. And only 4 cars finish on the lead lap with a 15.8-second margin of victory. There it is. Jimmie Johnson is the winner. 4th win of the chase. Darren Dill, welcome right at the end. Our next race will be the Checker Auto Parts 500 at the Phoenix International Raceway tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. You won't want to miss it. Our 8th race of the chase, our 3rd to last of the season on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. We'll take a look at the point standings now before we get out of here on the night and see what that points lead was extended for Johnson after this max points day. You can see the original point standings again on the left side of your screen. So Johnson will leave with a 117-point lead over Dale Earnhardt Jr., who came up with a runner-up second-place finish after starting on his 4th consecutive pole. Jeff Gordon finishes in 3rd place. He'll be 3rd in the standings as well, 122 back. Top 3 still within 1 race worth of points of each other. Casey Kane, the rookie, up to 4th after Kevin Harvick blew an engine. Harvick drops 2 spots in the standings to 6th because Matt Kenseth is up to 5th now. Tony Stewart 7th, Kurt Busch 8th, Bobby Labonte 9th, Ryan Newman still last of the 10. He is now 437 back. So it is now likely a 3-horse race for the championship. I wouldn't count Casey Kane or Kenseth out of it yet. If something crazy happens, we still got a Crown Jewel event at Darlington, which could throw some major championship implications there in the Southern 500. And a short track at Phoenix. We haven't raced there all season yet. It'll be the first time with the Cup Series in this game racing there. Again, that'll be tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. Double header on the channel tomorrow. We got that live stream at noon, and then we also have the full race highlights from the Kansas Speedway for the Bushy McBush Race 400 on NASCAR 21 Ignition. That will be premiered at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So I'll be in the chat for that one. It should be about a half hour roughly. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your Saturday night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll be back better than ever with you guys again tomorrow at noon.